Press play.
Replay, replay, replay.
You're watching Play Replay with Async. I want to talk about the movie Dredd. This is a movie that came out quite a while ago. It was a very well-made movie. And today's standards, this movie, it would be, I think, more of a blockbuster than it was when it came out, because nowadays there's not a lot of great movies coming out. And this movie would have been, if they would have released this when comic book movies were at its peak and they were doing well, I think Dredd would have been a movie that would have got a sequel and a couple, like 3 movies maybe even. But the first Dredd movie, or the one with Stallone, a lot of people are not very big fans of that because there's a lot of helmets being taken off and a lot of overacting and stuff. Not saying Stallone's a bad actor, but he wasn't the best in that role in that movie. And that movie just kind of was, it was just more of a, it felt like its time period, I guess. For me, I didn't really care for it that much. I just never went back and watched it again because it was just not, it wasn't memorable. But when you watch Dredd, you can definitely tell that they didn't have a lot of money to build this movie up and do all this stuff. But what they did have, they focused on, and they kept a focused, narrow path to focus on exactly what they wanted to make this movie do. And they actually there's a great action sequence in the beginning. And once you get locked down in this building, this big apartment, a mega complex or whatever, they do what they can with what they have. And man, they do a great job on this. I just wish there was more to the movie. I wish they had more action, more ability to travel through the city and do things, more ability to do all the stuff. But the one thing that I enjoyed most about Dredd is, I think it's Carl Urban that was actually cast as Dredd. He played Bones in the newer Star Trek movies. But that guy was perfect for the role. I mean, perfect. He kept the helmet on through the whole thing. And I don't ever think, he just had that look, that grim, like that. I mean, you could tell that he just kept his lips like locked in a certain way. And he was just like, he had that stern look. And this guy was just perfect. When he talked, he had this down, like, talk. Oh, you sure that's a good idea then? Whatever. And he was straight to the point. He didn't care. He was the judge, and he would go and do what his job is, basically. And of course, he got a female companion, like a trainee, in the movie. And I think the reason why they put her in there is to kind of get new viewers, people who don't know the Dredd franchise, which I'm not a big knowledgeable person about the Dredd, like comic books or anything either. But they put her in there to be the person who's like the viewer to kind of follow. So you're learning through her about this universe, in the Dredd universe or whatever. So that was kind of cool. Now today, a lot of people might say, well, that's woke because they injected a female, of course, in there. Yeah, I could see where someone would think that, but I think that they used it as a character because I think they put a female in there alongside him. She didn't overshadow him either. He was the star. It was Dredd. It was about Dredd. It was all the stuff with Dredd was happening with Dredd. We didn't have him get overshadowed and kind of thrown to the back while she became the main focus of the story. So that's what I consider not woke. When you actually take a female, and she's learning from a man, so if this was woke, they would have had her not have to learn anything from him. They would have had her just already know it all, and she'd just know everything, and she'd be just never have anything, no threat of her getting harmed in the movie, no threat of anything. And in this movie, if you watch this, it's an R-rated movie, you definitely know that she is threatened and she could have harm done to her because she's a female in this movie. Not saying females are lesser being. I'm just saying that men would like to take advantage of females sometimes, especially criminals. And that aspect is in this movie. And I'm not saying that horrible things happen to her. I'm just saying that they almost do. And that's more realistic as to what would happen in real life if a bunch of really bad dudes got a hold of a female cop or whatever in a bad area. But luckily it didn't happen. But the way that this movie works is you get to see Dredd kind of moving his way through this giant complex, solving this issue and kind of interrogating people and doing all these things. And for a small budget, it's great that he's able to have this environment where he's locked in, because obviously if you don't have a lot of money, you can't film whole cities and all this stuff. So it's better to have a smaller environment to work within, but yet have the feel that this is still a Dredd story, like an investigation. When I watched this movie, I was watching it with a friend, and I couldn't help to think to myself, because I watched it recently, and I was thinking to myself, man, this is a lot like what they should do with a Batman movie. Now, they did do the Batman, and that had some interrogation and investigations and stuff like that in it, but this movie felt like Batman. I mean, it just, the way he was talking, like, are you sure that's a good idea? He's talking like that. He's all gruff and whatever. And then, of course, he's got the mask on, which is like kind of like Batman. He's got his face covered except for his mouth, basically. So you're getting a similar feel. And boy, the way that everything is delivered is great. And he is testing out the new girl that is on the job, which makes sense. And of course, he didn't even want to have a partner, whatever, obviously. But you get that, and you get to see how he bounces ideas off her to see what she's thinking. And he's kind of like judging her according to how she reacts to stuff. And it's a cool, like, partner cop type of movie in that sense. So I would just say that when you're watching this movie, you kind of get the feeling that she is the person you're learning the story through. Like I said before, she is the audience as we're going through this movie, and we get to see how Judge Dredd acts and all that stuff. And of course, it's kind of interesting that you're moving closer to the top of the building throughout the movie, and you get certain things that happen. You get corruption. You get all this craziness that's happening in this dystopian world that they've made, that you get to see how Judge Dredd works in a dystopian future. And it's not like moral and good all the time, but he does do his job. That's all that matters to him. So I don't know. I just think that this is a great movie. I don't want to talk forever on it. I don't want to harp on it. I just wanted to get the thought out there to people that maybe you should check this out if you haven't watched anything good in a while, and if the latest movies are all woke and you're getting tired of it, and you want to watch a good manly movie where you get to see some actual acting like a real man doing some manly stuff, then this is a guy's movie with high testosterone, just good old-fashioned man's film, rated R and everything. So if you're into that stuff, that's cool. And I would definitely advise watching this. So tell me what you think about this in the comment section below. Like, share, and subscribe. And thank you for watching.